What's going on, folks? Eddie Carrington, Mayor of Flux City, and I'm just chiming in today with a quick video of a few thoughts I have going into the weekend. Didn't have a lot of opportunity this week to film too much of what was going on, but a lot has been happening, including a meeting with Detroit Disability Power. We have a project that we had them review, provide feedback on when it comes to the ADA requirements and accessibility for the particular units that we are working on within this development. And we contracted them out. They gave us a lot of good insight. But aside from that, I just wanted to, and I will dive into that a little bit more in a later video. I would love to really feature DDF in a way that gives us an ability to kind of show you what they actually do from a consulting standpoint when it comes to different developments and feedback on developments to hopefully get the site to a point where it's compliant and some, in order to help with individuals that are disabled in one format or another be able to better have access to the site, their living quarters, the main entrances, the community space, things like that. But really good conversation with them. We've also had a number of new tenants move into the ribbon, and this is really our official first month of allowing tenants to move in. We received our C of O, or our temporary C of O, back in December of last year, but unfortunately the insurance companies wouldn't accept a temporary C of O in order to convert from my builder's risk insurance over to my landlord insurance that I needed in order to safely and properly house residential tenants within this site. So had to wait until earlier this month, which is January, in order to finally get the full C of O, and here we are. But also interesting is I got a call from the fire marshal earlier, or late last week, basically stating, hey, look, I know you got your C of O, I know you've been able to check a number of things off the box or off of your checklist, but we still need to come to the site and walk your site and give you the thumbs up. And so I was a bit confused because the fire marshal had already came to the site and did their review on the fire alarms and the access points, elevator, phone, emergency contact button in the elevator, all that good stuff. And when I got this call from the fire marshal, I didn't even think that it was a real call. I'm like, with 2025 being the way it is, maybe it's a scam. And so I actually had the fire marshal email me from a legit email account to confirm that it was in fact the fire marshal. And once I got that, then I said, okay, well, what do I need to do in order to get yet another sign off from another city entity or department? And they showed up to the site a few days ago, 4, maybe 5, I think it was 4 fire marshals in total. And they walked the site, they verified certain things like the emergency lights, the actual signage on the doors with the door frame itself to basically show the fire rating of each exterior door or hallway door that we have within the facility. And so that was new to me. We had actually a few of the fire ratings covered with tape, and the painters painted over those fire ratings. And so at one point I thought that maybe we needed to scrape them off because the fire marshal was demanding us to have those figures shown. Luckily I went up, used a key, and kind of scraped the tape off, and the fire marshal basically gave me the thumbs up on that checklisted item. But it's a journey. It's definitely a journey to get a building operational. And we're still going through that process even now, right? And this is just yet another reminder of how challenging it is to develop a property larger than your single family facilities that a lot of us are pretty comfortable doing. And so therefore, just make sure that you are aware that if you're wanting to get into the larger projects, just be aware that this is not something that is easy to do, and it is a consistent task to continuously move your project forward properly, legally, in compliance, keeping it in compliance, things of that nature. But I had somebody reach out to me earlier this week, and I get this question a lot, and they're like, hey, look, I know you always, when people talk about profiting from these types of larger projects, I don't necessarily tell them anything but the truth. And what that truth is I'm not making a lot of money off of this 18 unit project that also has 2 retail bays, but with the amount of subsidy that we needed in order to make this project work, there isn't that much chicken left on the table, as my boy G would say. And so at the end of the day, the profits are very slim. Once we get to a point where we're close to being fully leased up, and the play with these larger projects is more so appreciation than cash flow. And sometimes it's hard for people to kind of comprehend that, because you would think that going from your single family fix and flips or Section 8 properties to larger developments gives you an opportunity to generate a lot more cash flow than what you assumably would from the single family side of things. But there are a lot of people who are in the single family game right now that are making a lot more money than me, and they're looking at me and they're like, hey, look, how do I get into the game that you're in? And at the end of the day, the grass is always greener on the other side, or the grass always seems like it's greener on the other side, but in reality, they're getting more green than I am. And so, but once again, the long-term play is appreciation when it comes to your commercial real estate, especially when we're talking about urban development, community development that's not necessarily on the beaten path of, in Detroit's example, downtown, midtown. And so this is just yet another reminder that this is not something that you're going to see a ton of money out of, but the hope is that you continuously create these types of developments, rehabs, new construction, whatever have you. You figure out a way to generate enough income, whether it be a developer fee or energy rebates, whatever, in order to cover what you need to cover for your expenses. But the long-term play is for us as a developer within these communities is really 5-10 years from the day that we receive our seed. We're hoping that by that time we have the opportunity to obviously continuously cover our debt service, increase the rents to a point where it allows for the value of this property to be more, and we in turn can either do a cash or a refinance event, or you can flip the property. But the refinancing strategy kind of makes sense. You pull out cash, you don't have to technically pay taxes on that refinance, on the money that you receive from that refinance. And eventually when you do sell the property, you don't necessarily make your money when you sell the property in this strategy. You make your money more so from the cash out refinance event that you potentially strategically implement sometime down the line. But you might have heard this HVAC system kick in. It's a little loud, so I do apologize. I just want to chime in with you, talk to you a little bit, and give you a quick update. But nothing too fancy here other than me giving you a talking head And at the end of the day, I'm just hoping that these videos are giving you some type of value, and I would love to hear your comments below as to your experience in the real estate game, and what you plan on kind of working on in 2025, which what have you worked on in the past, and eventually, hopefully, I'm able to create some type of a community that gives me an opportunity to more directly talk to my followers of these weekly episodes and of the channel, to in turn hopefully help me give you a little bit more pointed insight as to what you need to do in order to level up in the real estate game. With that said, I appreciate you chiming in, and I'll at you in the next video.